It is nice to have you here today. We know you have so many schedules, but you made time to come and honor this famous and wonderful friend, a teacher, father of the nation of Tanzania. Who was Julius Nyerere, and why should we honor his life and work? Simply put, he was a man who built a political career fighting poverty, ignorance, and disease, and winning. This program you're attending today began 5 years ago by local activist Mr. Rick Tingling Clemons and daughter-in-law of Nyerere, Letitia Nyerere, who is an MP in the Tanzanian government currently. To commemorate the life and work of Julius Nyerere, the first president of Tanzania, who was a visionary leader, this kind, astute, dedicated educator led his nation to adopt Swahili, as Americans say it, but actually we should pronounce it Kiswahili, as a national language, and embraced the title Mwalimu, which means teacher, in Kiswahili. Nyerere implemented Ujamaa, Kiswahili for collective work and responsibility. Ujamaa means collective work and responsibility. He authored several books. We wonder, we as Tanzanians, why isn't this particular podium full? This is because different people have different visions of who Nyerere was. However, commemorating his life should be seen as one of the keys to help unlock the miseries of today's wars as we continue the fight against poverty, ignorance, and disease and all over the world. Thank you so much for coming. Some of the participants are not here today. I'm not going to read for you the history of Nyerere. I think, Ms. White, do you have the history? There is a program and a summary of what JKN commemoration is all about. However, I would like you to note several accomplishments which touched many lives during his movement. One of them was the effective commitment to African liberation movements. Later, he hosted rebels leaders who later helped with the successful independence movements, including African National Congress and Pan-African Congress of South Africa, Samora Michael Frelimo of Mozambique and Angola, and Robert Mugabe and Zanzibar of Zimbabwe. Nyerere broke off relations with Britain, Tanzanian principal aid donor, when it refused to use force against Ian Smith and his declaration of UDI, Universal Declaration of Independence, in 1965, which had the effect of both postponing the advent of black majority rule and ushered in almost 15-year-long aimed struggle for an independent Zimbabwe. Nyerere's uncompromising stand against Idi Amin's brutal regime in Uganda led to his swift response to Amin's invasion of Tanzania in 1978. Yes, I was there in 1972. I'm one of the products who survived that war. Tanzanian troops, joined by Ugandan exile, drove back the invaders, going beyond the border until they took Kampala, which fell in 1979, making the first time in the era of post-colonialism that one country had invaded another and captured its capital, a breach of the principle of the Organization of African Unity. Yes, we paid a high price for that war. Though never quite a Marxist and viewed with suspicion by Kwame Nkrumah and other leaders, he was later viewed as a tactical ally when he started talking about class struggle and classless society. His African socialist philosophy of Ujamaa, a Kiswahili word for cooperative economics, became the basis for a national development project and a political economic management model through several means, which later on also alienated some of the nations. Fostering Tanzanian self-reliance through the two dimensions, the transformation of economic attitudes and cultural attitudes. Economically, everyone would work for both the group and for himself or herself. Culturally, Tanzanians will learn to free themselves from dependence on European powers, including learning to do things for themselves and being satisfied with what they could achieve as an independent state. We are thankful for his visionary. As of today, Tanzania is politically stable in Africa and we are unified by one language known as Kiswahili. He was a devout Catholic ruling a nation Christian, Muslim, and indigenous religion. Nyerere set an example when he voluntarily turned over power to his successor. He subsequently relinquished the party chairmanship in 1990, devoting more time to campaigning for greater cooperation between developing countries and as the chairman of the South Commission, a closing of the gap between rich and the poor. He took on the role of African elder statesman, working notably in conflict resolution, although his efforts to try and resolve Burundi civil war did not bear fruit. When he stepped down in 1986, Nyerere declared, "Although socialism has failed in Tanzania, I will remain a socialist because I believe socialism is the best policy for poor countries like Tanzania." His successor decided otherwise and embraced capitalism and the free market though their strategy has not proven successful. While he has his critics, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere is remembered for his moral leadership provided to Tanzania and Africa when taking its first shaky steps to independence after colonialism. Though they have been abandoned by successive Tanzanian politicians, the theme of unity, family, and equality can be found in the messages in a majority of the music being produced, much in response for working class oppression and some sense of resistance. Some of us here, we are here in front of you today because Nyerere gave us a chance to be able to fight the poverty, ignorance, and disease. I'm proud to say that I'm a product of Nyerere and his commitment to education. Welcome again to the 5th annual Julius Nyerere commemoration. And at this time, I take opportunity to invite Ms. Divine White, Howard University Nursing School. Welcome, and we'd like to hear from you.
Good afternoon. It is wonderful to again be able to host this essential commemoration. As a student at Howard University way back, I studied Julius Nyerere. I absolutely loved his teachings. I loved his philosophy. I loved the fact that he wanted to have the Organization of Africa unified. And I believed in his cause and in his words and what he wanted, and so much so that my very first grandchild I named in his honor, and her name is Nyerere. So I feel pleased and honored to be a part of this, and I thank Rick and my wonderful, wonderful friends that give me this honor and this opportunity to host this wonderful commemoration here at Howard University. Now, I can tell you next year it probably won't be in this room. We will probably have to move to another place, but we'll move to a bigger place, maybe Rankin Chapel or the Blackburn Center. Thank you. The Blackburn Center. So we're really, really looking forward to making this celebration something that we can all be very, very proud of, something that we can bring more people to and have them to help to work with us to celebrate this wonderful man. So on behalf of the Howard University College of Medicine, which is where we're sitting, and the Howard University Hospital, I welcome all of you to this campus that is dedicated and built upon the backs and the strengths and the dreams and the hopes of all of the people who came from Africa to this continent and who are now sitting in front of us as Africans and African Americans. So I just have to make one little statement. We cannot eat in this room. We can only eat in the foyer, and there are restrooms out the back door. And if there's anything that I can do to help, please feel free to come and tap me on the shoulder. I want to make sure everyone has a program and everyone has a pamphlet on Julius Nyerere. Okay, thank you.
Okay, join us to invite Miriam, who owns our Bahari Creations, to share her visionary and her work as a Tanzanian. Karibu.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Habari. Hamjambo. Yeah, I really remember Nyerere as my leader, and the way he really loved Swahili, and the way he was he wasn't he's the son of the chief, but he didn't like tribalism, and he loved everyone and every culture, and he really promotes Swahili by translate books like Shakespeare books, and he wrote so many books, and his speeches are very easy for everyone to understand. He writes in both English and Swahili. And so it's make like he is really a teacher or mwalimu, because not because that is he used to be mwalimu, but because he was been teaching all his life. But people who don't understand him, the people who doesn't like to read, and if you read his speeches, still at this time, still they are very good speeches. As I'm Swahili speakers, and I love Swahili culture. We have a culture also in Swahili, Kiswahili or Swahili culture, which is for all people who are living in East Africa. We share the same. There are things we see. The way of life are like the same. When you go to Kenya, Tanzania, Zanzibar, even as far as Comoro. So I realize that Americans, there are people who like to know about other culture. So I keep on sharing our culture, Swahili culture, and our cloth, kanga cloth. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to share with people as much as possible our culture, and show what we were wearing and making bags. That's what I'm doing. Thank you.
So this is in a way a blessing, because we are told we have to be out of here by 10 minutes to 6. So we're going to try to keep it. You did a good job, Miss Mariam. Thank you so much for sharing. We would like to see some of your flyers or books so people know where to find you, etc. Not just the Clemons, right? Okay, let's give a chance to Dr. John Lutayuga of Ukimwi Orphans. Why leo ni leo? They're getting ready. Dr. John Lutayuga.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. First, I must be grateful and thankful to the planning committee for inviting me here to share a few thoughts about Mwalimu. My name is John Lutayuga, the founding president, cum executive director of Ukimwi Orphans Assistance. This organization was established 23 years ago to intervene in the crisis of orphans and vulnerable children created by HIV pandemic. The organizers of Ukimwi Orphans Assistance based themselves on the African culture and tradition, where it is a shared responsibility of the family members to provide care raise the orphans to maturity. The family is stretched over generations to include, as far as possible, blood, affinity, even friendly relations. In like manner, 22 years earlier, as the leader of post-independent Tanganyika, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere recognized his people were overburdened by 3 enemies, including ignorance, disease, and poverty. The only viable weapon at hand then with which to effectively fight these 3 enemies was to take calls to the culture of his people, where problems of any kind were solved at the cultural base, which is nothing else but the family. It is at the family base where diseases are treated and eradicated, where education and training take place, and poverty is overcome through sharing and mutual assistance of the members who comprise the family, which we call Jamaa, where the abstract is Ujamaa. An individual is individual because he or she contributes to the Jamaa, and the Jamaa in turn takes care of the individual. The country, yes, the nation, is built not only from the top, but from the base, the Shina, which we call the kata, the communities, or the grassroots. The ethnic groups, the makabila, the wilayas, the districts, the region, the mikoa, and ultimately we come to the nation, the taifa. In essence, Tanzania is a very huge family with a population of more than 46 million people. This shows the socialism of Mwalimu is not materialistic, neither communistic. Ujamaa or socialism made Nyerere to stand tall among African leaders, turned him into a very renowned world leader. This is not the Nyerere I am going to speak about today. I am going to speak and to talk about and look at the unknown Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, who is not known, the side of Nyerere which is not very much known. Without more ado, here is the hidden face of Mwalimu. 1. Mwalimu Nyerere had something in common with the Ukimwi Orphans Assistance. With HIV/AIDS engulfed and decimated Tanzania with millions of deaths and consequently of millions of orphans, to mitigate the scourge of AIDS pandemic, Ukimwi Orphans Assistance took recourse to African culture, which states that the care of orphans is a shared responsibility of the members of kin. Together with the kinship groups or the families, could orphans work for the well-being of orphans and vulnerable children and to build their future lives. During the Tanzania-Ugandan war, which our moderator talked about, under the President Idi Amin in the 70s, Mwalimu visited an orphanage in Bukoba, a town near the Tanzania and the Ugandan border. Nyerere saw a boy whose father and mother were the casualties of the war. Mwalimu took the boy with him home and placed the boy in an orphanage in Dar es Salaam. We are told that Mwalimu used to visit the orphanage, speak to the kids many times. And before he died, Mwalimu bequeathed some land to that man who was in his 40s, and thus building an orphan's life. Second, Nyerere, Mwalimu, a saint? The process or the canonization of the proclaiming Mwalimu as a saint in the Catholic Church is underway in Rome, the headquarters of Catholic Church. Officially, Mwalimu has the title today of the servant of God in that church. The process is going to take years. That is Mwalimu. Every Tanzanian and many people knew Mwalimu as a devout Catholic. But to the extent of being that close to God, his life, intimate life with God, he was not known very much. And after his death, the church, not the church, the people who are the witness of his life have asked the church to proclaim him as a saint, somebody to be venerated, not only venerated, to speak on our behalf with God. Nyerere is not declared a saint yet. He has already been given the title of servant of God. This means that the Catholic faith are officially permitted, are in fact encouraged to ask for favors from God through Mwalimu. The third instance where Mwalimu is not very much known, Mwalimu is known as a statesman, as a president. Mwalimu is known in the glamour and splendor of the presidency. Mwalimu is known as he wielded his power and authority. But we knew and recognized him as a statesman. But what many people did not know of Mwalimu was as a down-to-earth peasant. And known he's a peasant who liked to go back to his roots, to his people, back to the village in Butiama and work with farmers. Other times, Mwalimu is referred to as the son of a chief of the Zanaki people. I don't like the title chief. Mwalimu was not a chief. Mwalimu was a prince, son of a king. The Zanaki people had a king who begot a son, and they named him Nyerere. Chiefdom is a colonial terminology, which I could call derogative. Aware of his origins, Mr. Nyerere did not carry himself in the airs of being a prince of the Zanaki people. He was a very humble person. The fourth point, where we didn't know much about Nyerere, is that is consequently of Nyerere respected, event established his peasanthood, while encouraging them to modernize the farming methods. He never looked down upon them. On the contrary, he educated them to elevate the cultivation methods, to modernize it, using modern tools like tractors. Academician as he was by training and inclination, he did not disdain ordinary down-to-earth conversation about the weather, soil, crops, being taken care of, and worrying when things failed to go according to expectations. Another characteristic, Nyerere, an African lover of the land. Another characteristic I would speak about is the concern for the marginalized and displaced people. Our moderator touched upon the Nyerere being concerned about displaced people from their land to return them home. The Southern Africa owes a lot to Mwalimu. Nyerere was a lover and had respect for African culture. That is why Nyerere promoted Kiswahili to unite all Tanzanians, not only Tanzanians, but to Africa as far as possible, to be able to emit our feelings and our thinking through one language, a tool of Kiswahili. In conclusion, everybody of us around here, I am convinced he or she has some interest in the well-being of people. Let us imitate our Mwalimu's example of reaching the root cause of the problems haunting us, and especially haunting our people and nations. Thank you very much.
We benefit from our elders who knows the history and how to explain it. And we hope one of these days we'll walk in their shoes, saying we are proud to have been amongst those who knows who Nyerere was. I would like to acknowledge Mr. Mwiza Muntari of Host Africa Now, WPF, in midst with us. Please give me a hand. Of the CTV, you see she's so busy there. Now let's talk about Africa. We dance when we cry. We dance when we are sad. We dance when we are happy. We dance because the Mother Nature called us to do so. There is a myth of how we dance, east and west, south and north, but at the end of the day, it's the music, it's the rhythm. Leo Nyerere dance troupe was started back in 1990s with the elders. They danced because they loved Tanzania and because that was their way of remembering who they are. After so many years, they decided they're going to get married or have babies, so the babies decided, why can't we do the same thing you guys used to do? Here today, I give you Leo Nyerere, Next Generation by the Musharas. Leo ni leo, next generation. Give them a hand for the kids who grew up in the United States and they try to stay in touch with Mother Africa. It's not an easy job as everyone thinks. They ask themselves, who are we? Am I an American or am I Tanzanian? Am I half this or am I half that? At the end of the day, they're African keepers. Thank you. We're going to take a break for 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll start with Anna Mwarago with a poem. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Miss Anna Mwarago, vocal artist, who is originally from Kenya. She's been a wonderful motivator to young ladies, but most of all to Africans, to give them hope and make sure they understand being who you are, it's okay. It's okay to say I'm a Tanzanian. It's okay to say I'm a Kenyan. It's okay to say I'm African American. It's okay to say I'm an American. Because if you deny who you are, who is going to be Tanzanian? Who is going to be a Kenyan? Who is going to be African American? And who is going to be an American? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Anna Mwarago.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. This is my second time here. And I just wanted to see whether I could move the mic because I like to move around with it. Okay. I can stay here. Okay. All right. My name is Anna Mwarago and I'm from Kenya. And I have two poems that I might be able to do, or maybe 3. But the first one is in Swahili. And I wrote this poem because I'm from Kenya, but I also think that Africa somehow, we have a problem of tribalism. And I know, thank God, in Tanzania, we don't have such a big problem of this. But it's a problem that has to be addressed so that we as Africans have to come together. So this is a poem called Umoja ni Nguvu, Unity is Strength. The poem is in Swahili. And in the end, I can translate a little bit what I meant. Helele, helele mama we, helele, helele mama we, helele, helele, helele mama we, helele, helele mama we, helele, helele mama we, helele, helele mama we, helele, helele, helele mama we, helele, helele mama we. Leo hii nasikitika na kujanzwa na majonzi moyoni. Mie mwananchi wa Kenya, mtoto wa Kiafrika, mwenye urembo na uzuri wa Kiafrika. Nisemeje, nineneje, tutaombaje dua kwa Mola tukiimba sote kwa sauti moja nyimbo yetu ya taifa. Ewe Mungu nguvu yetu, ilete baraka kwetu, haki iwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na undugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi. Kama mioyo yetu imejaa chuki, utengano baina ya makabila. Je, tunataka undugu tunapoitana majina, kutusiana na madharau? Je, tunataka raha na ustawi tunapobomoa badala ya kuendeleza? Je, tunataka amani, umoja, upendo tunapodhulumu wasiojiweza? Na kweli, je, tunataka baraka zake Mungu tunapochoma, kuua watoto, wazee na vijana? Kumbuka wahenga walinena, aliyekupa wewe kiti ndiye aliyenipa mimi jamvi, na ijapokuwa leo kwangu, kesho kwako. wako. Vipi tunasahau vita vilivyopigwa na mababu zetu ili tupate uhuru, damu iliyowatoka ili nasi tujiongoze? Basi mbona tunaharibu badala kuendeleza? Kumbuka, iwapo tunataka viongozi waaminifu, waungwana na wenye amani na umoja, tunaweza kuchagua viongozi waaminifu na wenye uzalendo. Tusipumbazwe na maneno matupu, bali tutazame vitendo. Tukatae hadithi za abunwasi na vitendo vya kazi bure. Kumbuka, bila Afrika hakuna Mkamerun, Mganda, Mtanzania, Mkenya, Msomali. Sisi ni wa Afrika kwanza, na iwapo tunajitenga, basi tuwatusi wazee wetu. Maombi yetu yanakosa maana, na mwishowe sote tutaangamia kama meli baharini, kwani mtego wa panya unasa waliomo na wasiomo, na umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. Thank you. The poem talks about our unity and the fact that as we go to other elections coming up, we need to choose leaders who are patriotic, who are not selfish, who are not corrupt, because we are the ones who determine our future. Because at the end of it all, it's not about Cameroon, it's not about Tanzania, it's about Africa. When they even talk about us on TV, they never say, most of the time they say Africa, and they go in and say, oh, Tanzania or Kenya or Uganda. And some people even here in America think all Africans just come from one place. So it is time for us as Africans to unite, just as our Baba Nyerere had put this together and wanted us to unite as African people. My next poem is a poem that I've always done it, and this poem is called I Have a Dream. And this is a dream that I have for Africa, and I know that it's coming to fruition step by step. When I see children living in America dancing the African way, singing the African way, I know we have a future. I know Africa will take its crown again. They say that I come from the dark continent, Africa. They say that I come from the dark continent, Africa. The last time I checked the word dark in the dictionary, it meant evil or wickedness, without knowledge or enlightenment, a state of ignorance, difficult to understand, the absence of light. But I still believe in Africa, and I'm proud to be an African, because even though my continent has been marred by civil wars, ethnic wars, tribal wars, and HIV and AIDS is killing my people in masses, while the world watches and the media shows with no remorse, please do not let the media fool you, because to them news is only when it bleeds, it reads. But I'm not going to abandon my people, and I'm not going to disown my ancestors, and no matter what they say, I am not going to deny my race. Instead, I have chosen to stand up for Africa. I have chosen to defend my history, protect my land, eliminate the perpetrators and their wickedness, and declare peace in the name of justice. Let us not forget that Africa is the richest continent in natural resources, from gold to diamond, rubber to copper, timber to oil. Africa is widely known for its tourism industry. Africa exports tea, coffee, just to name a few. Africa is beautifully endowed with the Great Rift Valley, the Victoria Falls, the pyramids, the oceans, the seas, and even its people. And now, 80% of the world's supply of coltan, a mineral that is used to manufacture cell phones, computers, PlayStations in the whole world, is found in Africa. Tell me, what darkness comes from all this light? Yet some of my people want to turn our blessings to curses, letting their flesh control their spirit, making a brother kill his own brother, kill his own father, rape his own mother and his own sister in the name of money, power, riches, and fame. Why are we failing to see the big picture, that if we stand up together, rid ourselves of all the corrupt leaders, we can attain riches beyond our imagination, for we are already rich. And if we have to trade, let us not exchange our minerals for cheap change, while the Western world reaps all the benefits. Let us not exchange our minerals for arms to kill our own people. Who then will stand for us if we cannot stand together for ourselves? Instead, let us exchange our minerals for better machinery and technology, so that we can become self-sufficient. And instead of depending on the West, we can all work together. For if we let our selfish interests control us, some of our leaders putting our lives on the line just to fatten their big fat bellies, then we are saying that we did not learn from colonization and slavery. And it will be sad to say that history repeats itself. Why are we helping to build other nations and continents while we watch Mother Africa crumble and fall? I am crying for a revolution, and I am searching for followers, and I am looking for peace. And until the world says that there shall be no more blood, no more rape, no more poverty on my diamonds, no more blood, no more rape, no more poverty on my gold, no more blood, no more rape, no more poverty in my oil. We as a people need to stand up together and defend what is ours, fight for what is ours, own what is ours in peace and not in war. So just like Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream, I too have a dream. I have a dream that one day Africa shall lend and give aid to the world. Oh yes. And I have a dream that one day we shall find the cure to HIV and AIDS and rid our continent of this dreaded disease. And I have a dream that one day our children shall teach the Western children our culture instead of it being vice versa. And I have a dream that one day all the African heads of state will come together, speak in one voice, and together form and create one country, one continent. The United States of So listen to our mothers calling. For when Mama Africa calls, we must answer. And I know that we shall get to the mountain top. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I might come back, I might not, but I just wanted to say that I have my CDs and T-shirts in the front, at the back. And again, I want to say thank you. And please continue doing this program. Thank you.
You see, Africans, we are not in darkness, as she put it. Anna Mwarago, let us give her one more hand. At this time, remember, we are leaving this place around 5:45. So the speakers I'm calling, please bear in mind that we need to give the rest of them a chance. I'm going to ask Mr. Mwiza Muntari of Africa Now to come and give us his testimony. Mr. Muntari.
Good afternoon. And I'm Mwiza Muntari. I'm also Public Outreach Director at Trans-Africa. So that's my day job. Africa Now is just the volunteer work that I do for WPFW, which is an important station. I hope you support WPFW, which does a lot of great programs. They've even had speeches of Mwalimu Julius and Nyerere over there as well, and other programs of different topics in the African world. But first I want to thank the organizing committee of the commemoration of Julius Nyerere and Rick Clemens as well for inviting me to be here today. We often don't take enough time to honor important figures such as Julius Nyerere, people who are honorable and do the right thing as leaders, as citizens of the world. And we often get to hear the ones who do the wrong things, but we don't take enough time to give people such as Nyerere attention. And that's an omission, sadly, we should be correcting. We should be consistently correcting throughout our journey in life. And I commend you this commemoration that you've been doing for the last 5 years now. It's important that we give these lessons to the next generation so they know who Nyerere is, because soon there'll be very few people who have lived in his company. And unfortunately, when people hear about African leaders, they only get to hear the ones who are negative. They don't get to hear about the Julius Nyereres or the Kwame Nkrumahs and others who fought for not just their own country, but for African people worldwide. And also the great, I've always admired Nyerere. I'm not from Tanzania, but I saw him as also my leader in the African world. I am from Malawi, and I saw Nyerere as a humble servant for all of us. Somebody who, when he thought the time was right to step down, he stepped aside. which is commendable. Somebody who didn't enrich himself, somebody who enriched his citizens with education, knowledge, and sadly we only get to see that after they pass. We don't see it when they're around people that don't see the great work that they do until they've gone. And that's so we have to, I think, be better at recognizing that in our daily tasks as we go on in this journey. But I just wanted to end with the words of Nyerere himself, because even though he was a humble person, but he also spoke truth to power. I mean, he spoke he was a very strong individual, as you know, and he spoke to. He was not shy to punch the oppressors in the mouth when he needs to be, with words. And this quote illustrates that. This was in 1999. He was talking about the World Bank's Africa development policies. And this is just shortly before he passed away. So this is the quotation. I was in Washington last year at the World Bank. These people asked me to speak. Then they asked me the questions. The first question they asked was, how did you fail? I responded that we took a country with 85% of adult population illiterate. The British ruled us for 43 years. When they left, there were 2 trained engineers and 12 doctors. This is the country we inherited. When I stepped down, there was 91% literacy, and nearly every child of school age was in school. We trained thousands of engineers and doctors and teachers. In 1988, Tanzania's per capita income was 280. Now in 1998, it is 140. So I asked the World Bank people what went wrong. Because for the last 10 years, Tanzania has been signing on the dotted line and doing everything the IMF and the World Bank wanted. Enrollment in school has plummeted to 63%, and conditions in health and other social services have deteriorated. So I asked them again, what went wrong? These people just sat there looking at me. Then they asked what they could do. I told them, have some humility. Humility. They are so arrogant. So this is Julius Nyerere, and this is from the New Internationalist. This is from the article from the New Internationalist, The Lion Lies Down. Julius Nyerere comes to the end of the anti-colonialist life, and it's by Chris Brazier, and it was published December 1999. So just as we go, let's remember what he's done, not just for Tanzania, but for the African world. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.
When something is successful, there is always people who are behind, working tirelessly, quietly, and being supportive. At this time, I'm calling Weston, west of Serengeti Gallery.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to begin by saying thank you very much for inviting me to be with you this evening. Brother Clement, thank you for the invitation. It's always an honor to pay tribute to a great leader, and Julius Nyerere, called Mwalimu, was a great leader indeed. I know I have very few minutes, so I'm going to just go from my notes and keep right on moving, okay? Habari zenu? Okay, karibu. Mwalimu was a trailblazer who took bold and unprecedented steps to create a Tanzanian society which was beneficial to all Tanzanians. This all occurred at a time when the world, particularly the African world, was in a state of tremendous upheaval. There was a great struggle for national independence from the European powers which had dominated, exploited African nations and African peoples for at least 500 years. Africa, led by Ghana, was beginning to assert itself and gain political independence. Julius Nyerere, Mwalimu, however, wanted more than political independence, or what we sometimes call flag independence. He sought full independence, which included political, economic, and more importantly, ideological independence, the ability to think for ourselves as African peoples, as African nations. Hence, this was the beginning of Ujamaa. And Mwalimu was a link in a very, very long chain. That chain began when and where the very first African was placed in shackles and transported to an unknown world. Some have stated that his system, called Ujamaa, failed. My question to you and to those naysayers is, how does one determine or decide what is a failure? Perhaps his role was to plant the seed and begin the process. Look around today, and you will see the flowers of his work. Ran Karenga, Maulana Karenga, began Kwanzaa. The 7 principles, or the Nguzo Saba, where did they come from? Tanzania. You have, as I've heard others say, a lot of hip-hop artists who are talking about Ujamaa, Kujichagulia. All of these Swahili terms, where do they come from? Tanzania, headed by Julius Nyerere. The movement in the 60s, brothers and sisters all over this country were talking about Habari Gani, Salama. Where did it come from? Julius Nyerere. Today, Tanzania. We don't hear many problems coming from Tanzania. Why? Julius understood the people must be united. There's nothing wrong with being a tribe. That was all created by the Creator. He made us all who we are. We don't all want to be the same tribe. But Julius said there's something bigger and greater than tribalism. It is the unification of a nation, and he well understood that the language, the mother tongue, is what is the great unifier. Nowhere on the continent of Africa can you say today that anyone has done what the great Nyerere did by unifying the people with the Swahili language. And the Swahili language is spoken in more than just Tanzania. It's in Uganda, it's in Kenya, it's in Malawi, it's in Zambia, it's in the Congo. And I went to West Africa and I told my wife while standing there about 30 years ago, I said, hiki ni kali sana. This cost a lot of money. And the brother standing next to me said, "Apana si kali sana." And this was all the way in West Africa. Julius Nyerere, the great uniter, the great philosopher. I would like to end by saying this. There were many, many people who were there before Julius Nyerere. And Mwalimu built upon the legacy which they had left. I can go back to Menelik II of Ethiopia, fighting off the Italians, fighting off the entire Western world as they tried to conquer Ethiopia so they could build the trans-African rail line from Egypt all the way to the South Africa to hook up with the Boers and completely control Africa. All of the European powers went to try and defeat Emperor Menelik and his queen, Queen Tayai. They did not succeed. And from that great movement came the Pan-Africanist movement. That Pan-Africanist movement, led by the likes of Julius Nyerere, who was a little bit younger than many, but there was W.B. Du Bois. There was Zeke from Nigeria. There was Paul Robeson from the United States. And there were many, many others who were there laying the groundwork. How do we move forward? First, the shackles must be removed. You've heard of the Underground Railroad. You heard of the Middle Passage. The shackles must be removed. The second thing that must happen is there must be a philosophical groundwork to move us forward. And we had those great thinkers. Among them was Mwalimu Nyerere, showing us, telling us how we must proceed. From there, once the philosophy is laid, you must have the social architects. These are the people who shape reality. These are the people who are the institution builders, such as Karenga instituting Kwanzaa. So, Nyerere did not fail. We are now moving to the next phase where we become those institution builders who train the young, who train our children to be the next torchbearers leading to the next revolution which is taking place, which is freedom of the mind and African people throughout the world understanding that we are one and working together, great changes are possible. Thank you.
What a wonderful history. See, if you can afford to come here once a year to just learn from those who knows the history of who we are, it is worth it. At this time, I'm calling Anise Jenkins, Stand Up for Democracy.
Hello, good afternoon. I want to thank Rick and Michelle Tingling Clemens for having this event today and for inviting me to participate. I want to just be very brief. I'm learning. I'm here today learning about what this great leader has done for his people and for all of our people, our people. I had a friend ask me, where was I going today? And I said, I'm going to a celebration of the life of Julius Nyerere. And they said, well, don't you talk about D.C. statehood? Isn't that your issue? They said, well, what's the connection? Is there a connection? Well, I think there is a strong connection. When you talk about liberation, when you talk about freedom, when you talk about fighting oppression, there is always a connection. Our organization, Stand Up for Democracy in DC Coalition, known as Free DC, which is on my cap, you can see the broken chains. It's all about breaking the chains of colonialism, breaking the chains of someone who does not want you to develop to be what you want to be, what you should be, and what you were put on this earth to be. D.C. is a colony. We are the only capital out of 125 countries in this world where the residents of that nation, of that capital, have no vote in the national legislature. D.C. residents pay the highest federal taxes in the country per person. And we have no vote whatsoever. If this country goes to war, we don't have a say-so. If this country selects someone to the Supreme Court, we don't have a say-so. We are supposed to be servants to the master of the United States Congress. Well, Washington, D.C. needs to reach out to the nation and reach out to the world, to reach out to you. We're your brothers and we're your sisters living right here where you came to celebrate your leader. We need your help, and we will relate and connect to you and continue to work with you. This oppression has caused D.C. to have the highest HIV/AIDS rates in the country. The nation's capital, yes. We need your help. What is the connection? The connection is that your great leader, Julius Nyerere, fought poverty, fought for his people, fought for education. These are things that only control of your destiny can give to you. And that is why I'm here today. I'm going to go home and tell the people to say, well, what did you come there for? I'll let them know. I learned about a great man. I learned about a great leader and someone that we can imitate. Just as your poetess talked about Martin Luther King, we're going to walk in the steps of Julius Nyerere.
It's around 5:35. My name is Jessica Kamara Mushala. I am your MC for today. We look forward to seeing you next year, and we look forward for you inviting more people to be able to understand and learn about Julius Nyerere. This today will not happen if there was no two people in this audience who worked tirelessly, despite the trials and tribulations, heart attacks in the past 2 weeks, mom not sleeping, but yet they said this day has taken place. I would like you guys to join me as I invite the people behind what you see, Mr. and Mrs. Clemens, Tingling Clemens. And one of them is going to speak. I don't know which one, but please give them a hand. They've been a good example, Tanzanians, to be able to be proud of who they are. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Okay. Trick, I'm going to go quickly because we do have to get out, and there's food out there. We want you all to eat, but we do have to be out of here by 6 tonight. First, I want to thank so many of you for coming, especially so many Tanzanians. And what I was really going to talk about is how much we appreciate doing this program, how much I know I have learned and our family has learned in embracing this program and the teachings of Mwalimu. And I want to encourage you to please let your country people know about this commemoration, because we do intend to continue it. We do think that, in the words of Weiss and West and all of the other speakers we've had here tonight and the songs of Anna, Leone Leo, Next Generation, what we're hearing and what we're learning is that there's no forward-thinking, productive leadership that does not touch all of us. And I think that Mwalimu is really like one of the shining examples that we're here to celebrate today. But one of our biggest challenges in putting on this program has been trying to work with your embassy. I'm sorry, for those of you who are not Tanzanian, but I'm talking about the Tanzanian embassy. It has actually provided us with, we've had challenges with our venue, we've had challenges with Howard University, but we've had our biggest challenge with the Embassy of Tanzania. And we actually had the ambassador here one year who promised to come back and bring a large group of Tanzanians and to work with us. And then something happened. And they would never tell us what happened. They just stopped responding and reneging on their promise. So I'm saying this to you publicly, that this is a major challenge. Would very much like to find a way past that. But we also know that while Tanzania is the country's representative here in the States, you as Tanzanians, you are the power. We say this to Americans all the time, but as Tanzanians, you are the power of helping us to bring forward and to move forward and maintain the memory of, not just the memory of what Mwalimu stood for, but also the legacy. You are his legacy. And we ask you to encourage you to please continue to support this program and to bring more Tanzanians out, to get more involved with this, and to help us make sure that Mwalimu's memory lives on both in Tanzania and in the world, because he was a citizen of the world. And I have some certificates here for some of the speakers today, and Rick is going to be brief. Y'all help him be brief. And these T-shirts are here as models. We do have T-shirts for sale. It does say third annual. That's because y'all didn't buy enough of them the third annual. So we still have some left over. So we decided we bring those rather than print some more. So please do help us move those on so that the sixth annual we'll have fresh T-shirts. Thank you.
Thank you. I say thank you to my beautiful wife who worked very hard and tirelessly to make sure that this happened. If I speak kind of slowly or semi-deliberate, it's because in the last month I've had 2 heart attacks, not one. And thanks to America. God bless America. We do this program every year out of an understanding and a love. It took me a little while, but luckily before I was 21, I found out that I was an African. And that's the education in America. And when I found out that I was an African, not only that I found out I was an African, later on I found out that I was part of the first people to walk this planet, the first people to learn how to read and to write and to study the stars, the first people to study medicine and study science. I am part of that, and I'm so happy. And I say thanks to all of you for being part of that too. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I believe in all of us African people must stand together, must take our rightful place. I just said that we were the first, didn't I? We should take our rightful place because the child should not tell the parents what to do. And that's what's been going on for 500-600 years. The children have been telling us what to do. We should not stand for it. All right. We will not stand for it. And I promise you this. We shall inherit this earth. It is ours. It is ours. And I was telling someone today, in spite of all of the things that have been done to me, I would never do that to anyone because my humanity as an African would not allow me to be that stupid, that unkind, that un-Christian, un-Muslim-like, un-whatever would not allow me to be that. We are people, the only planet that we can live on is this one. And we can live on it in peace. There's enough resources to house and to feed everyone on this planet. But it takes imagination, not stupidity, to figure that out. I'm not a brilliant man, and I figured it out. I understand it. I'm not that smart. I'm average, but I know that there's enough resources for no one to go to bed hungry, for no one not to have a roof over their heads, no matter where they are, here or in Tanzania. Thank you. I fought like Julius against poverty, ignorance, and disease all of my life. I'm 69 years old. And I've been fighting that and fighting to make sure that that is understood. Most of my life has fallen on deaf ears. I've pleaded with people. I am one of those guys who stood in front of the White House pointing my fingers and telling them how stupid they were. But they didn't listen to me. Who cares? Well, we care. And we must know that we care. And we must know that the power to change this world lie in our hands, not in their hands, in our hands. All we have to do is find our hands, find out what we have and how strong we really are, because the people are the inheritance of this earth. And the people will rule in spite of what we've gone through. And the suffering that we've gone through has helped, has not hurt. It's let us know how stupid and ignorant people can stoop to be. It let us know that. Because if it never happened, we would not know that. It would still be a secret, and it could pop up anywhere. But now we know that. Let's remember that. And let's keep this beautiful planet and this beautiful world and give thanks and make sure that our next generation of beautiful people who I'm looking at in the back of the room will inherit a world that they can continue. And I'm glad that we're doing this. Our crowds have not been very big, and my wife kind of spoke to some of that, but some of that we'll take some credit for not building the way we know how to build. I'm one of those guys who have brought hundreds and thousands of people to D.C. to demonstrate. So I just didn't start doing this stuff, but this is a different kind of thing, because this is something to commemorate the life of a great African. A great African. And a lot of us don't identify. Forgive me, my Tanzanian brothers and sisters. He's not just your man. He's our man. He's ours. He belongs to all of us. So I will close now. As my wife said, we do this on a shoestring. We got a lot of people, the Mashalas, Amos and Jessica. Let's give them a hand, y'all. Let's give them a hand. Because for the last 3 years, they have been our MCs, and they have helped to organize our programs and come in and take charge and do what they do best. And they are great organizers and great humanitarians. And then we have my sister, Devine White, of Howard University. She's a charm. She's put up with all of the stuff. She's taken all of the heat. You notice she said that we might not get this room again next year. There's a story behind that, and I won't bore you with it, but there's a story behind that. But Devine has stood up and fought for us to have these programs here because she believes. And there's loads of other African people who do believe, and we must have that faith that they're, in spite of what people say and what people do, they still do believe. They believe deep down inside there's that kernel of belief that's there. We must find that. Something that my folks told me a long time ago is that that in spite of everybody, that people are good. People are generally good. We do bad things, but we are good. All of us do bad things. He or she without guilt cast the first stone. I will not throw a stone because I have not been who I think I am all along. But we all do the best we can. And that's all that we can do, is the best we can. So let's join hands as brothers and sisters, as fellow Africans, and let's reach out to the children, to our children in Europe and other places. Reach out. They don't know any better. They just started wearing shoes, folks, about 500 or 600 years ago. So look, when Jesus was on the cross, there were no cities in Europe. So we have to know that. And so not only that I found out that I was an African, I found out what kind of African I am. And we are. And we shall inherit this earth. There are hard times. But those hard times is to teach us a lesson. We must know how low we can go. Because a lot of us can't imagine the stuff that's happening to us. 30 years ago when I started out being real left and real political, I didn't imagine this stuff was going to go on this long, but it has. And now you got a black president. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. But at any rate, thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing this opportunity with us. Thanks for doing this opposed to doing so many other wonderful things you could be doing on a Sunday evening. I hope that folks, if you can, buy a T-shirt. Our fundraiser, one of our biggest fundraisers is the food outside. I hope people get a plate. And I'd like to thank Josh Lawrence and her nephew. Josh comes to a lot of our stuff. As a matter of fact, Josh has documented a lot of stuff, so please talk to Josh and get to know Josh. He's a very important person. And my good friend who's been here, him and his family and his wife, Dr. Ruta Yuga, every year he's been here. He's been here, and he's fought the hard fight with us. So thank you, and thank you, kids, and keep up. And the folks who's responsible for keeping that African culture going, thanks to you, continue to work. It won't be done in vain. The Mushalas? Okay. Hey, there we go again. I heard that name somewhere. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Enjoy the refreshments up front. Those who can buy the T-shirts, you can find the price from Mr. Tingering and Mrs. Tingering. If you have any flyers, you can pass them up outside. We are not allowed to have food in this room. Please eat outside. I'll see you 2013 in October.
We are not, and we will not let them put their dirty footprints over us. Every day, people are dying. People live in houses made of mud, brick, soil, and they still survive. Everything that is fake, everything cannot be changed.